Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're uncovering the astonishing, multi-layered story of the Japanese macaque, better known to most of us as the snow monkey. And I am so excited to share this with you because honestly, their story goes way beyond what you'd see in a typical wildlife documentary. Let's kick things off with a slightly provocative question. Can watching a single species of monkeys soaking in a hot spring actually rewrite our understanding of biology, of culture, and maybe even our own humanity? Well, as we unpack the data today, you're going to see why the answer is a resounding yes.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover four main areas: gods, pests, and coexistence. Then Emo the potato pioneer, next the hot spring holobiont, and we'll wrap up with a genomic time capsule. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Gods, Pests, and Coexistence. To really understand these animals, we've got to start by looking at how humans have interacted with them. It's a relationship stretching all the way back to the Pleistocene epoch, right when both our ancestors and the macaques first arrived in the Japanese archipelago.
It's wild how much our perception of these animals has completely swung back and forth over the centuries. Way back in the Neolithic Jomon period, archaeologists found these clay monkey figurines that were likely used as fertility amulets, so they basically held this godlike status. But as time marched on, that reverence shifted. They were seen as equals, then eventually objects of ridicule, and then they were actually hunted as resources or just flat out despised as crop pests. Thankfully, in the modern era, we've swung back toward protection and conservation.
But this shifting history reveals something fascinating: a lingering spiritual power. Because even when farmers were actively hunting them, people still believed these monkeys had magical abilities. Actually, there was this custom called umayazaru. People would affix a monkey, or, well, its body parts, inside their stables to protect their horses from illness. It shows this incredibly complex, slightly dark coexistence, where they were revered and exploited at the exact same time.
Moving on to Section 2, Emo the potato pioneer. Let's zoom in on one specific troop of macaques living on Kashima Islet. This is the exact spot where our modern understanding of monkey society completely flipped on its head.
Before we look at what they actually did, we need to define a really crucial concept: pre-culture. Basically, these are newly acquired behaviors unique to a specific troop, and they spread through social interaction and learning, not through genetics. So the big takeaway here is that these macaques aren't just acting on raw instinct, they're actually inventing and teaching each other brand new traditions.
And here's how it happened. In September 1953, a brilliant little 1.5-year-old female named Emo did something revolutionary. She took her sweet potato down to the edge of the water, dipped it in, and brushed off the sand. She literally invented sweet potato washing. Just like that, this single, ingenious act birthed a brand new pre-cultural phenomenon in the Kashima troop.
Now, the way this behavior spread reveals an absolutely fascinating social dynamic. The juvenile females, the ones who usually hang out right in the center of the troop, they rapidly picked up Emo's trick. But the older adult males, they tend to stay on the periphery. And because they were isolated and, kind of stuck in their ways, they found it almost impossible to pick up the new behavior. They stubbornly missed out on the whole innovation simply because they were grumpy older monkeys stuck on the edge of the social hierarchy.
And the data totally backs up the power of this social learning. By 1958, so just 5 years after Emo's lightbulb moment, an incredible 78.9% of the monkeys aged between 2 and 7 had acquired this washing behavior. That massive adoption rate is just solid proof of how efficiently knowledge spreads through their central social networks.
All right, Section 3. The hot spring holobiont. Let's zoom in even further and look at those famous winter hot spring baths in Nagano. We've all seen the beautiful footage, but what is actually happening on a microscopic level? To really understand the hot springs, we have to talk about the holobiont. This is an integrated biological system made up of the host, in this case the macaque, and all its associated microbes and parasites. So to get the full picture, you can't just look at the monkey alone. You have to look at the monkey plus its microscopic passengers as one single walking ecosystem.
So it turns out bathing isn't just about staying warm, it's actively reshaping the monkey's relationship with its parasites and gut bacteria. Researchers at Kyoto University found that soaking actually alters louse activity and where the lice place their eggs on the monkeys. And interestingly, while the overall microbiome diversity stays pretty similar, certain bacterial genera are actually more abundant in the non-bathing monkeys. Plus, and this is wild, Despite what human logic might tell us, sharing these hot springs does not increase their exposure to intestinal parasites.
The crucial takeaway here is that their behavior is not just a simple response to a cold environment. It acts as a hidden, selective driver of their health. It totally challenges our human assumption that jumping into a communal bath is naturally going to increase your disease risk. In the wild, this cultural practice is actively and safely shaping the macaque's internal and external ecosystems. Finally, Section 4, a genomic time capsule. Let's zoom all the way down into their DNA. Specifically, we're looking at the endemic Yakushima macaques, the southernmost population of Japanese macaques. They are, quite literally, a living genomic time capsule. Their evolutionary timeline paints a picture of just incredible survival. By analyzing their whole genome, scientists have traced their lineage back 500,000 years to when they first diverged from Chinese rhesus macaques. Fast forward to about 100,000 years ago, and they become geographically isolated on Yakushima Island. Then, something highly dramatic happened roughly 5,000 years ago. They suffered a massive population bottleneck, most likely due to a catastrophic volcanic eruption nearby. And their genetic code reveals intense physical adaptations etched directly into their DNA over those thousands of years. For example, they developed specific mutations for denser hair. They were essentially building a better winter coat from the inside out. We also see genetic tweaks related to how their liver produces energy, their muscle development, and even brain function. It's like their DNA is a literal map of survival through extreme conditions.
In fact, this genomic data reveals a permanent, visible scar from that volcanic disaster. When you look at the numbers from roughly 5,000 years ago, there's this drastic, sudden drop in their population size that we can still read in their genetic code today. The eruption nearly wiped them off the map, but their genes tell this amazing story of resilience.
Which brings us full circle to this really profound thought from the Japan Monkey Center. Japanese culture retains a concept of coexistence with monkeys based on a sense of equivalence among livings in this transient world. As we wrap up this explainer, we're really left to ponder something bigger. If we are so deeply connected to these complex, cultured, and genetically resilient beings, how should that shape our shared future on this planet? It's definitely a question worth reflecting on. Thanks for learning with me today, and I really hope this gave you a whole new appreciation for the incredible snow monkey.